Before you keyboard critics even start warming up your fingers and all, I want to be clear that this isn't a comparison between the two. These IEMs may seem similarly set up and similarly priced and all that, but that's the extent of it. They sound really nice in their own way though, and we'll talk more about that in a second, and have some of the nicest paint jobs out there. Just check out these sexy B-rolls before we fade out to the logo and then onto the specs. So anyways, let's get this. If you haven't noticed already, the TIGERISM Octave is the one on my right, and it retails for $150, while the MOONDROP STARFIELD 2 retails for $30 less at $120. And both of these, nothing fancy about the driver tech, but we'll talk more about sound quality in a second. Both of these have 10mm dynamic drivers doing all the grunt work. The STARFIELD 2 weighs 11 grams per side, which is a little bit on the heavy end, but very comfortable, spreads its weight out in your ear canal very well. Octave itself is almost half of that at 6 grams per side. Pretty darn impressive. Both of these all metal build. 1.2 meter long braided cables, or about 4 feet long each. If you've owned a Moondrop, you pretty much know what to expect here, from the unique paint job and colors to the compulsory waifu art on the front cover of the box there. But in the case of the STARFIELD 2, they've taken it up a notch, I would say, and the workmanship and the paint is really well done. They've refined the look. Some of you may or may not like this. They refined the look from the first gen. Now it's flatter sided and is just, it's neater and smaller a little bit, in my opinion. I don't think you need to look at the left-right indicator for this to find your place. The paint job actually does that for you. I don't know if they meant this to be on purpose, but the left side is the STARFIELD design, while the logo is for the right. And so you also get some nice, with the braided cable, some nice embellishment. It's all in gold, really nicely done, and it ends with a 3.5 termination. I wish there was like a balance option or something like that, or an adapter or something. That would have been nice. You can feel each of the tiger stripes under your fingers on this electroplating. It's so nice, guys. Really nicely done. It's well put together, again, just like the Moondrop, but it is way lighter. You can feel the difference in this. In terms of color, you can see it's all black on the inside, and of course the paint job, and it's more of the silver cable with silver embellishments all the way down to the splitter here. The splitter, it has this knurled design, so it's easier to grip, I would say, besides being a unique design element. Same thing with the jack as well. This is balanced. Again, it would be nice to, at this price for both models, be nice to have see some kind of adapter that you can swap up to, like in this case 3.5, or the other one to a balanced. I wanted to show you the nozzle itself of the STARFIELD 2. In this case, this is actually removable with removable parts, while the TIGERISM Octave is fixed. In the box, both of the models offer carry cases, but they vary. As you can tell, the left side is for the STARFIELD 2 and the right is for the Octave. You can choose between which you prefer, which is more toteable, which has more storage space. The TIGERISM has an elastic pocket as well on the inside, while the Moondrops is just one large cavity where you try to stuff your cable, your earbuds, and your accessories all in one spot. Now, one big difference as well is the number of ear tips offered. This is for the TIGERISM, and this is for the STARFIELD 2. Yeah, big difference, right? Now, what the STARFIELD does also include, I'm not sure if this will show up on the camera or if you will focus. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. You can see tiny little tabs right there. This is to seal, and let me try to bring in the ear tip here, the earbud here. It's to seal the bass port right there to give you a little bit more bass gain. But we'll talk more about sound quality. Oh, there's one more thing I forgot to show you too. The TIGERISM does include a pouch too, for some reason, with very limited space, just like the Moondrop. But if you want something smaller, you can there's two different pockets. You can stuff things on the left, stuff things on the right, and then you just drawstring it. Regardless of which you end up buying, you get some very nice IEMs to show off here. In one corner, you have the STARFIELD's CNC milled alloy casing with a blue glitter paint motif of its namesake, arguably nicer than the first gen. The Octave, on the other hand, has a pretty bloody cool electroplated gold-black tiger faceplate. Our year-and-a-half-old son growls each time he sees it because it reminds him of, guess what, tigers. It's pretty darn cute, and why the Octave has a special place in my heart. Now, I have heard of paint chipping issues among some Starfield 2 owners. This one's a loaner, so I ain't going to be like banging away on it to test the point, but it happens frequently enough to be worth mentioning. How the Starfield 2 sounds is actually quite ear tip and source dependent. Sure, you can drive it with most mobile or computing devices, but I suggest adding a medium powered amp of some kind to give it a proper waking up. So with a good seal and enough power out of the way all settled, the lithium magnesium foil drivers on these become the star of the show. They produce rich, organic bass that seems to wrap around each note that you hear. For example, Gabby Hartman's People Tell Me sounds like it's straight from vinyl. There's so much richness coming from the piano and drum brush. In Nirvana's Nevermind, drum strokes are clean, not muddy, the bass guitars drive with conviction, and you can finally make out what Kurt Cobain was singing all that time. Well, actually, no, you still can't. I definitely didn't plan for that. The sun directly in my face, trying to burn my eyes out. But anyways, mids have really nice texture. There's a strong bump in the upper mids though that might turn off some of you who don't like peaky quality of things like vocals, especially when the volume climbs. But that being said, you can tame it by pairing the Starfield with a warmer source. You're welcome. And same thing with lower treble. There's a mentionable shrillness to trumpets and cymbals that bleed over from the upper mids. But again, you can smooth that out with something warmer like these Kiwi ears right here. Nonetheless, treble response is natural without being abrupt. Again, I think it's thanks to the high-end metal foil diaphragms. The Tiger takes a slightly different approach with a darker sound profile throughout, like a really nice smooth syrup. And some of you might find that a little bit too relaxed, particularly in the highs, but at least it's less fatiguing than the Starfields during those long listening sessions. Bass punch, I would say, and clarity is impressive as well, such as for those awesome bass pedal effects in Bulls on Parade. Mid-range is more neutral as well towards the 1K region, which I find to my liking. There's a certain natural quality to instruments and vocals in that area, which makes it really enjoyable. Imaging is pretty impressive on both the Octave and the Starfield, and same thing with separation, although the Octave feels narrower, like more mid-forward than the Moondrop. Oh, a quick note about those little tabs that we looked at earlier in the close-up. So for the Moondrop, they include those tiny little rubber blockouts to plug the bass ports, right? Now, if you want to do that, you can do it, but I tend to keep it off as they're rather clunky to install each time and also really easy to lose for what is really a very small bass gain. But if you want to do it, it's there. I think Moondrop could have given us not just better ear tips, but also a wider selection to choose from. I mean, they're comfortable, the ones that come in the box, but in comparison, the Octave has plusher and more subtle tips. Both of the cables are also nice in daily use, a little bit stiffer on the Moondrop, but it makes up for that deficit with a sheath wrapped around the ear loop. And this has the benefit of helping the high traffic area of the cable last longer, like keeping like hair grease, oils, and other bodily gunk from getting into the twines, which is a nice touch. Some degree of servicing and modding can be done by unscrewing the nozzle, as we saw earlier on the Starfield as well, whereas the Octave doesn't allow anybody to do squat. Hey, guess what? These are IEMs, so no app to install or worry about. And that also means I get to clock out of this video sooner than I thought. Which brings us to, one is a worthy upgrade from its predecessor, while the other is
Tow it like a tiger.
Both have accessible sound for those new to the IEM audiophile bandwagon. Good luck with that. While also offering enough margin for those who want to tweak the EQ to their liking. Now, the fact is though, there are tons, like literally tons of very good IEMs at this price bracket, like the 7Hz Legato if you like that bass, or the Etymotic ER2 and 3 series if you like having your ear canals violated to no end. But in the context of this video, however, either one of these would be fantastic adds to your collection. They're very attractive, they're comfortable to wear, and more importantly, will make you smile pretty much every time you plug them in. Well, I hope you found this little not a comparison video helpful, but in any case, I welcome you back. I hope you enjoyed your time here, and thank you for spending time with me, and thank you for your patience. And remember guys, to do something loving and kind for somebody in this world, because guess what? If you haven't seen the news, the world needs it more than ever, and it starts with you. I love y'all very much. Peace out, and I'll see you the next time.